How's everybody doing? It's been a long time. All right, you guys. I came on here to talk about something that we've been talking about on this channel for about the past 8 years. So it's not a new concept for this channel. It's a very old concept, and it's one that has, um, it's captivated me because it's a very wild and strange thing. And you guys look out here, it is a beautiful rainy day here in West Africa, here in Ghana. So we are just relaxing and chilling today. We had plans on going to grab a couple things from the other place, but I don't think that we'll end up being able to do that. So instead, we are just relaxing. So, I definitely need to get that concrete up out of the back of the truck before it hardens. So, what I wanted to talk to you guys about was the secret religion and how, um, more than likely, you guys have been members of the secret religion your entire life. The secret religion, while it's not a religion where there's a central worshiped figure, it's a religion based on ideology and potentiality. And I know these are two big words that can mean a whole bunch of different things, but let me explain. So, give me 1 second while I finish up here. All right, so the secret religion is the belief in space, you guys, the belief in outer space, the belief that the earth is round, the belief that there are such things as aliens. This in itself is a religion. It comes with a set of religious beliefs. It is adhered to with a creation story, with a apocalypse story or an end of the world story, and it has in it entities that you can consider to be gods. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let's unpack that a little bit so that we can get to the bottom of what's going on with this secret religion. The reason why I'm bringing this up now, I have plenty of videos describing both me talking and then also me talking about it, and then also the videos describing it. I have plenty of videos going over this, but it does seem that people still don't quite understand what's going on. So in the modern world, you have what I would call a scientific agenda. And that doesn't sound like a bad thing, right? Science is a good thing. The word science means to know, right? It's a Latin word, Greek word. I think it's scientia. So it means to know. And so what they interpret science as is knowledge, or the pursuit of knowledge. And this, for the world, is a noble thing. And it's a noble thing anyway for us people that are in the truth. But it does depend on how you interpret the knowledge that you receive. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. In the ancient world, there were two religions, right? There was the religion of the people, and there was the religion of the pharaohs. The religion of the people and the religion of the pharaohs were extremely different. And I'll give you an example. The people believed when the sun was traveling around the earth, The people believed that because they saw it set in the west, that it must go underground and have an underground abode for it to come out on the other side. So literally, the people of Egypt believed that the sun would sink down into the water and then come back up on the other side through some secret underworld tunnel. Um, and so we know this to be wildly false today, but in that time they knew it was false too. The pharaohs understood the concept of the sun as being a deity that would rise and fall and have counterparts in the underworld. So the pharaohs understood that the sun revolved around the face of the planet, the face of the earth, and and they told their subjects that it went down into the ground to like a death and a resurrection, because the sun represented the pharaoh, and the pharaoh was a god. So you see that there is a scientific aspect and a spiritual aspect, and that scientific aspect didn't overrule the spiritual, but it led the spiritual, so that people would associate the sun and the resurrection of the sun every morning with the power of the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh would be able to come out and rise every day in the exact way that the sun would. But the Pharaoh himself didn't believe that. They had the real coordinates for the sun. They had the real coordinates for the stars. Their priests were very well aware of the nature of the earth. And they just used this propagandistic technique for technology, for mind control technology, in order for them to worship the Pharaoh. So as you can see, there was a high religion, the Pharaoh's religion, and then there was a low religion, the people's religion. The low religion was a lie, and the high religion was more closer to the truth. Maybe not the full truth, because we know the Egyptians didn't have the full truth, but was more closely aligned to the way that the world actually worked. Do you understand what I mean? And so we have that thing now. We have a core community of what they call scientists, but they're actually theologians, because what they're doing is they're using a set of ideas to interpret a false reality. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you look up at the sky, and for, of course, the last 500 years or so, because it's been a little bit up and down, for the last 500 years, my boys are in there playing. For the last 500 years, people have believed that the earth was round, and that the earth revolved around the sun, and that there were these other planets. Now, this idea did not just come into fruition just overnight. It took them hundreds of years to try to, perfect the universe that they designed so that you'd believe it. So over hundreds of years, people were able to develop this cogent theory of the way that the universe works, with the sun being at its center, and then all of these peripheral round planets circling the sun, making the sun the center of the universe. Do you guys understand where we're going with this? So the sun being the center of the universe makes it an object of worship. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not physically, as in you're praying to the sun, but ideologically, because it takes up the center of your universe. In reality, there is no universe. We can call it a universe because universe just means one world. But the universe that you believe, that is billions of light years worth of empty space and stars and rocks, does not exist. What actually exists is in the heavens, there is a dome. There is a dome that is made of crystal, that is made of ice crystal, that dome shines. It shines blue. Why? Because on the opposite side of that dome is a huge ocean comparable to the ocean that's on Earth. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? In the book of Genesis, it talks about there being a firmament that divided the waters that were under heaven from the waters that were above heaven. This means that there must be, listen to me closely when I say this, if you believe in the Bible, this means you must believe there's a solid structure in the sky holding water up over your head. And if you don't believe that, you don't believe the Bible. If you believe that there's millions of light years of space and planets, and the sun is in the center of the universe or in the center of the solar system, and then there's a bunch of different solar systems and galaxies and all of these different things, then you are a member of the secret religion. That is your ideological religion. Remember, it does not take a specific God and worship of a specific God for it to be a religion. Your thoughts, the way that you believe, the way that you approach the world, the way that you think the world appears is also a religion. Why? Because it's formulated in a religious process. And I'll explain. In scientific literature, now see, I used to be into all of this scientific literature because I thought, that this is where knowledge was held. I didn't recognize that when they told us the Bible was primitive, that they were just hiding the real knowledge of the earth. Do you see what I'm saying? When they told us that ancient history was somehow weaker than the information that we had now, we didn't recognize it was because they wished to keep that ancient, powerful information and technology to themselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? So as these ideas were being developed, the actual truth of the scripture was suppressed. So you literally replaced the book of Genesis with Newton's Principia. Do you understand what I'm saying? You literally replace the book of Genesis with Charles Darwin's the origin of species and the preservation of favored races. Remember that the name of that book by Charles Darwin is The Origin of Species and the Preservation of Favored Races. This means that that Charles Darwin was a member of this religion and a knowledgeable member. He was the Pharaoh. Do you understand what I'm saying? He was the Pharaoh designing this false religion so that you could believe in it. Do you understand what I mean? This was his goal. This was his understanding, and not because that's what he believed, because that's what he needed you to believe. Do you see what I mean? Isaac Newton believed himself to be a priest. He was just as much into the occult. I'm trying to find a dry, quiet place. So give me a second here. He was just as much into the occult as he was into math. Do you see what I mean by that? If you are into the occult, and the occult is nothing but satanic worship, if you are into the occult, that means you're a part of a different religion. That means that you have a motive. Hey. That means that you have a motive to hide the information of the scripture because you're literally participating in a competing religion. And so when we take Isaac Newton's, hey, cut that down. We are literally rejecting the knowledge of the scripture for the knowledge of the world. Do you understand what I mean? This is the secret religion. This is the understanding that the world will give you that is opposite from the understanding that is in the Bible. Do you see what I mean? So when we look at people like Isaac Newton, when we look at people like Charles Darwin, hey, what's up, son? Oh, okay. I'm making a video right now. I'll be done in a minute. I only have 6% battery left. When we look at people like Isaac Newton and we look at people like Charles Darwin, we see them as the fathers of science, as of the notions of the modern world. We don't see them as Satanists and eugenicists, that whose goal was to subvert the knowledge of Scripture and to also present another doctrine, right? So when we look at, let's just look at a couple elements of this false religion so that you can get in your mind all of the components that comprise what you already believe in. So if you believe that the earth is round and we live in a universe, then you also believe in the Big Bang Theory. Do you see what I'm saying? So, in order to provide creation, in order to have a creation event, there has to be a beginning to all of this, space and time and matter and molecules and all of these different things, right? So, in this secret religion that you are all in, if you believe that the earth is round, you have a Genesis story. In the beginning, there was nothing. If you listen to what the scientists say, they tell you that in the beginning there was nothing. The Bible will tell you in the beginning Elohim created. Science will tell you in the beginning there was nothing. The Bible will tell you in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. And in the beginning, science will tell you was nothing. Science will also tell you that in the beginning there was nothing and the singularity. So there's a contradiction already in the way that modernists look at the universe. We understand that the word singularity means one, and here we are, a form of creation from something called the one. They say that this singularity um, they say that this singularity became unstable and then exploded and created the forces of gravity, the force of gravity, the force of electromagnetism, and then the weak force, the weak atomic force, and then the strong atomic force. These were the four forces created in the Big Bang. And they don't give you any explanation for how they were created or what mechanism, you know, uh, facilitated this creation. They just said they were created, right? So literally at the beginning of your scientific model right now, if you believe in the universe, is a miracle. Do you see what I mean? The singularity created and created this 14 billion years of space and time. Do you understand what I mean? So they have what's called cosmic evolution. This is why Charles Darwin comes into play too. Charles Darwin deals with, you know, evolution in terms um, of people and of animals, but you know, the scientific model is that that evolution can also apply to the universe, and through a slow piecemeal process, you know, of forces and nature, um, you have all this that you see before you, all of this creation, right? So what we end up with is the foundational structure of a religion, right? We end up having a creation myth at the beginning of our scientific understanding, a creation myth, and very recognizably a creation myth. And then, wait a second. If there's all this millions of years of time and space, and not only just millions of years, but billions of years, and then we, being humans, and on this cosmic evolutionary clock, have only been around for about 1 to 2 seconds on this clock that is in the 14 billion light years that they say exist since the Big Bang. We only have been, alive as humanity and as a people on Earth for a very minute and final portion of this 14 billion year time span. Therefore, there must have been vast amounts of other civilizations that have been around longer than us and are more intelligent than us, and we're just waiting to make contact with them. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're just waiting to make contact with them. And since they've been around longer than us, and then they must be more intelligent than us. And if they're more intelligent than us, that makes them gods. Do you understand what I'm saying? Aliyun. Aliens are gods. Do you understand? Aliens are gods. They are the gods of the scientific religion. And they don't necessarily have to be worshiped either. They just have to be greater than you are, right? And if you see them as being greater than you are, then you may listen to what they say. You may have an opinion on what they believe. Do you see what I'm saying? If they're telling you, the way that the universe is, we come from this planet, or if the understanding is that they come from such and such part of the universe and they've been around for such and such amount of time, and they come down to you from the sky, or at least the ideas come down to you from the sky, then what does that make them? That makes them gods descending upon the earth. Do you see what I'm saying? People look at the world today in a scientific context because we've got cell phones and TVs and planes and cars and things that take a very great deal of scientific knowledge to complete. And I won't deny that these things do take an understanding of the world around us in order to make. You can't understand, a plane without, you can't make a plane without understanding the way that the atmosphere works in, these high altitudes. You can't make a car without understanding the way that motion, the laws of motion work. Do you understand what I mean? Combustion and all of these different, you know, elements that have all of these different elements that have been a major part of the modern industrial revolution, in the world. But we can't take those accomplishments and then superimpose them onto a greater reality to say that, oh, because these things have been created by the science that they tell you exist, that means that all the science that they say is true. Do you see what I'm saying? We can't take technological advancement on the face of the planet to also represent ideological advancement in the universe. Those two things are mutually exclusive. Just because we have cell phones doesn't mean there's millions of years of light, millions of light years of time and space. Just because we have planes doesn't mean that there is such thing as a solar system. Do you understand what I mean? In fact, you could even go a long way to say that because of the development of all of these different earthly technological uses or devices, they would also have the ability to propagandize in the future too. That their levels of propaganda, their levels of the level of technology that is available to propagandize people has also become, advanced. And a part of the way that people are propagandized in the modern era is through disbelief, right? Or belief in a false universe. So then, let's just continue on down the line here. We see many, 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 many movies and TV shows about aliens, right? Aliens coming down to the earth and doing a specific thing. And I'll tell you, all the movies are about the same thing. From Transformers to The Day After Tomorrow, Star Wars, to all of these different things, these movies have the same agenda. These figures come to Earth, or these figures, these alien figures, are powerful and they come with ideas. And those ideas are better than the ideas that we have now. Since we live in a world full of war and destruction and turmoil, they must be more intelligent than we are, because it appears that they would have a greater understanding about life because they existed for longer. Do you understand what I'm saying? So these concepts then are developed. But what people fail to recognize is that according to the Bible, there is an ancient species that fits this perfectly, that fits this understanding perfectly. And they are the angels, y'all. And so I say all that to say this, that the that the that I'm coming out with another video is Secret Religion 4. And it goes a long way to explaining a lot of the things that we're seeing. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I guess this phone is about to run out of batteries all of a sudden. And I'll go ahead and close it out. But I will pick this back up. This is just the introduction. I will have a few more. Shalom, shalom, Mishpachah. We've got somebody on here. I've got 1% battery life left. So, they're gone. So I will go ahead and get back into this and record another one of these because we want to get into specific details. I do have another video coming out, Secret Religion 4, and it's going to be a doozy, you guys. It just goes into UFOs and how UFOs are not planes, are not ships that people get into and get out of and all that. They are real, but they are not ships. They are not vehicles. They are themselves spirits, you guys. UFOs are alive. UFOs are the ghosts of the sky. You guys hear what I'm saying? And this is what we'll get into in Secret Religion 4. But we'll discuss some peripheral topics before we get there. I'll be making the video and then I will release it soon. We'll have a whole premiere and, do it, the right way. And until then, I guess I'll be trying to figure out how to put some information out so that people will be able to come and take a look at this information. And I think we'll develop it in that way. Okay, you guys, since I got just a little bit of time left, I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. Well, nobody came and hung out, but I'm sure people will come back and listen to this after we get off here. Okay, shalom, shalom.